Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got some great material here on Azure Cosmos DB, and our goal today is pretty simple. We want to cut through all the tech jargon and pull out the stuff you really need to know. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding this powerful tool for modern apps.
Absolutely. And Cosmos DB, it really has become a go-to choice, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for developers building those big, scalable applications. The ones that need to handle huge amounts of data globally without missing a beat.
Okay, so let's dive in. We're talking about a fully managed NoSQL database service. Now, for anyone following the space, NoSQL means flexibility, right? Moving away from those rigid tables of traditional databases. When you look at Cosmos DB, especially for beginners, there are really three core things that jump out: global distribution, the data models and APIs, and partitioning. Let's start with global distribution. This sounds big. What does it actually mean for an application?
It means your data can physically live in multiple Azure regions around the world simultaneously.
Okay, so like if I have users in Tokyo, London, and New York.
Exactly. They all get fast access because the data is near them. But it's not just speed. Think reliability. If one region has an issue, your app keeps running using another region.
Okay. How does it actually do that?
Well, it automatically replicates your data across the regions you choose.
Yeah.
You get choices too about consistency. Like, do you need everyone seeing the exact same data instantly? That's strong consistency. Or is it okay if there's a tiny delay for better speed? That's eventual consistency. There are options in between too.
So you can balance reliability and speed.
Precisely. And you can even enable multi-region writes. So users write to their closest region, and Cosmos DB sorts out any potential conflicts behind the scenes. Plus, automatic failover means if a region goes down, things switch over smoothly. It keeps your app feeling fast and, crucially, staying online. One thing to keep in mind, though, adding more regions does increase costs. Maybe start with two. That's often a good balance.
Makes sense. Start smart. Okay, that covers getting the data everywhere reliably. What about the data itself? How flexible is Cosmos DB? You mentioned NoSQL.
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting. Flexibility is key. Cosmos DB stores everything underneath as JSON documents. But, and this is the clever part, it lets you interact with that data using different models and APIs.
So I'm not locked into just one way of working with my data.
Not at all. You can use a SQL API to query your JSON, very familiar for many developers. Or, if you're migrating from MongoDB, there's a MongoDB API. There's Cassandra, Gremlin for graph data, even a table API.
Wow. Okay, so I could bring my existing skills, say from Mongo, and start using Cosmos DB pretty quickly.
Exactly. It really lowers the barrier to entry. You use the tools you know, or you can experiment. The SQL API is a great place to start, actually. You can try it right in the Azure portal.
That sounds incredibly useful. So we've got global reach, we've got flexibility in how we handle the data, but what happens when the data gets huge? Which it will in these modern apps.
No.
That leads us to partitioning, right? You said that was the third pillar.
Yes, partitioning is absolutely fundamental. It's the backbone of how Cosmos DB scales. Basically, your data gets divided into smaller chunks called logical partitions.
And how does it decide how to split it up?
You tell it. You choose a partition key when you set up your container. This is a property in your documents, like say userid or producted. Cosmos DB uses that key to group related data together in a logical partition.
Okay, so all data for userid 123 goes into one logical partition.
That's the idea. And these logical partitions are then spread across the actual physical hardware, physical partitions. Cosmos DB manages all that automatically. As your data grows or your traffic increases, it splits partitions, moves things around, all to keep things balanced and fast.
So choosing that partition key sounds really important.
Oh, it's critical. You need a key with lots of unique values. Userid is often good. Status like active or inactive would be terrible. Why? Because you'd end up with all the active users hitting just one or two partitions. That creates a hot partition.
A bottleneck.
A major bottleneck. It slows everything down, and it costs you more money too. Because queries that hit just one partition are efficient and cheaper in terms of request units.
Request units, right. That's the currency for operations in Cosmos DB.
Exactly. It measures the resources your query uses. Single partition queries use fewer RUs. Cross-partition queries, which have to check multiple partitions, use more RUs, cost more, and are slower. Definitely test your common queries in the Azure portal. See how many RUs they consume. It tells you a lot about your partition key choice.
Okay, so let's pull this all together for everyone listening. What does this actually mean for you? We've got global distribution for that worldwide reach, resilience, keeping data where it needs to be. We have flexible APIs and data models, so you're not locked in. You can use familiar tools. And then there's smart partitioning, the engine that lets you scale massively and cost effectively if you choose that key wisely. Together, these make Cosmos DB a really powerful and actually quite adaptable service for building these big, modern, global apps.
It really does. And maybe this raises a question for you to think about. How does understanding these core ideas, global distribution, the APIs, partitioning, how might that change how you approach designing a truly global high-performance system, even if you're just starting out?
That's a great point, thinking differently from the start.
Yeah. And my advice, don't just listen to us talk about it. Get your hands dirty. Create a free tier Cosmos DB account. Play with the SQL API in the portal. Try setting up a second region and see that replication happen. Actually doing it, even on a small scale, gives you insights you just won't get from reading. It makes it real.